Hello, welcome back. My name is Jordyn and this is Double Booked. In today's video, we're gonna go over some of the books that I read most recently, one of which is The 3 Lives of Cate K by Cate Fagan. I've been trying to utilize my library more and stop buying so many books for myself. I am a book collector, so it's very hard to do because if I want to read a book, I buy it. If I enjoyed a book that I listened to or read on Kindle, I buy it. And I really need to stop doing that. It's getting to the point where it's a little excessive. And I share an apartment with my boyfriend, and our second bedroom is our office, a spare bedroom, and a library. So I can't fit that many more books in here. So I've been trying to unhaul a bunch of these books to make more room for the books that I love and cherish, that I want to use as trophies, because I do want to still have a home library in the future, maybe when I can dedicate a whole room to it. So one of the ways that I am unhauling these books is actually my small business that I just launched. It is an online bookstore. I am selling primarily right now secondhand books, most of them coming from my own personal collection. A lot of the ones that I listed on there I have never read. They're in pristine condition. I just don't know that I have the same interest that I did when I bought them, and I want them to go to a home for someone who will really enjoy it. So I am selling them on my website. While we're talking about it, I also listed handmade crocheted Kindle sleeves. You could probably fit a book in this too, maybe like a paperback. I'm gonna start making some that I can dedicate for books specifically that will fit hardcovers, because those things are much bigger than a Kindle. So right now I only have Kindle. I have it in green, brown, white, baby blue, baby pink, and like a pastel yellow. They all have these white button enclosures, and they are like thick yarns, so they do a good job of protecting your Kindle. If you would be so kind as to check out my website, it is booknookcollective.com. And if there is anything on there that you do like, please consider purchasing something on my website and supporting my small business. I really would appreciate it. I put so much love into everything that I put on there, and I want all of my items to go to homes for fellow readers who will love and appreciate them. Now that I've got the business out of this part of the video, we'll go back into talking about The 3 Lives of Cate K. In this book, we are following Annie and Amanda. They are best friends. They've been best friends their whole lives. They're inseparable. There's an accident where Amanda gets hurt, and it leads Annie to leave the town. No one knows where she went. She just disappeared. Fast forward, we're following a lot of different people in this story. A lot of side characters. You don't necessarily know who is a main character, who's a side character. It kind of flip-flops between different POVs. That was a little confusing for me at first. I ended up rating this one 3 stars because once I figured out who was who, because there was a lot of then and now timelines as well as different POVs, it got very confusing. I feel like I did have to force myself to finish it because I was interested, but I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to pick up this book. In the remainder of this video, what I would love to do is rearrange my bookshelves in my room. I will be listening to The Night We Met by Jimenez. I started listening to this today while I was laying outside for a little bit. I'm only on chapter maybe 3. So far it's alright. I'm enjoying. There's not a whole lot that's happening right now. This book, if you don't know, the trope is boyfriends, best friends. A lot of the people that I've heard have actually disliked this book significantly based on that trope. They just didn't like it. They kind of felt like it was maybe cheating a little bit. I don't know. I'm not that far into it. Where we are at right now, they are not in a relationship. They are just talking. They're just seeing each other. I'm not getting those vibes right now. I don't know what's going to happen. If it's going to go further, I'm not sure. But right now, we're in the beginning. Chris's mom has a surgery. The guy she's talking to, insert name here because I can't even remember, was supposed to drive them to the hospital. stay there with Larissa and then drive them back when her mom is done with her operation. In the beginning of the book, we open up with said man calling his best friend asking, hey, can you take Larissa and her mom to the hospital? She has a procedure today. I'm really hungover. And best friend, don't know his name either, editing Jordyn put it here, says, why would you get so drunk that you're hungover if you knew you had to take her mom to the surgery? Which, valid, because why? Why are you pretending like you already didn't commit to this? Why are you so drunk that you're hungover and you think you might still be drunk from the night before that you had to call your best friend to take this girl that you made a commitment to take her and her mom to the hospital for the surgery? Why? That was a whole mess of things that I just did not vibe with. It's giving, I don't really like this guy. So from where I'm at right now, I'm rooting for the other guy already. Again, like I said, I'm not that far. So we're gonna backtrack and say, hey, tomorrow morning, we're gonna get up early. We're gonna start moving around some books. We're gonna be listening to The Night We Met by Jimenez, and we'll go from there. So I will see you in the morning. So we are going to head to the spare bedroom and get to rearranging all of my books. This is going to be an entire day project. I am not sure where to start here. As you can see, my shelves are a mess, but the TV is mounted and we are not touching that. So we have to kind of work around the TV. So as you can see, this is what my office library side of the room looks like. I either want to put them both on this side and then put my desk over here kind of away from the wall, or kind of do the opposite, but there is a closet right here. So I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do. We're gonna have to play with it a little bit. I removed my desk. I took all the decorations off my shelves, and now I'm gonna move all the books off so that we can move the shelves. While I do that, I'm listening to The Night We Met by Jimenez. Names to name this stray dog they found, and he says, what do we name him? Garbage Goblin? Trash Goblin? And she's like, what about Wolverine? Come on, that's hilarious. I'm not sure this shelf will fit in this space. I really don't think so, but I will find a tape measure and measure it. I think we're just gonna try it anyway. So I'll remove all these books off of this shelf and just move the shelf over there, and if it doesn't fit, we'll go from there. Dark in here. I just got a notification that there's a severe threat for a thunderstorm, so I really apologize for the lighting. Oh yeah, it's downpouring out there. finished reorganizing the bookshelves, put them all in that corner. My desk is in the separate corner, and I honestly love how it turned out. I have my little corner desk area, and my boyfriend has his desk area. There's still plenty of room for the spare bed. I can open the closet door because the shelves don't go past like the baseboard of the closet, so it actually fit perfectly, and I am so overjoyed with how everything turned out. And now when I film future videos, I can have the books sitting behind me and it not just be the one shelf. I was listening to The Night We Met by Jimenez. I don't know how far I am. I have about like 2 hours left in the audiobook. I am enjoying it so far. I find Larissa's boyfriend so infuriating, and I understand that he has an issue with alcohol. He hasn't acknowledged it. No one else really realizes it yet. They're just kind of looking at him and seeing how much that he drinks, and they think that he's just having a great time and can't really set boundaries, but they don't necessarily think that it's a problem yet. And it's really hard for me to listen to this book and not feel bad for Larissa, knowing that her dad was an alcoholic, and we find out in the beginning of the book that he opened credit card in her name and racked it up. It was like $5,000, and now she's in so much debt that she has to pay off, and she and her mom don't live the most comfortable life. Larissa works multiple jobs to support both her and her mom. They don't live in the greatest apartment, so it's just really hard to see her boyfriend Mike treating her like this. And I understand that it's an illness and maybe he doesn't recognize it yet, but it's just really hard to read and see how she's being treated, and then seeing Chris, Mike's best friend, treat her so good and looking out for her peanut allergy, making sure there's no nuts when they go to a cabin, or looking up restaurants to make sure that there's nothing that contains nuts so that she's not even at risk at all. That just makes me feel so good for her. Now we're at a place where she's kind of like, what do I do? She's in like a sticky situation, and I can understand why people would think that that premise and that whole situation in the book might be unappealing and maybe murky waters, and maybe that means they wouldn't necessarily enjoy the book that much, but I personally am appreciating it for what it is. I also really enjoy seeing Xavier Jimenez's book that she published last year, Say You'll Remember Me. That wasn't necessarily my favorite book. He is a vet, and we meet him in that book, and he showed up in The Night We Met when they found a stray dog, and Chris brought the dog to Xavier, and they've been friends for the longest time. And it's just kind of cool to see I love interconnected standalones where we get to see little glimpses of past characters and past books, and just seeing their relationship with other people in the current book. That's just something that I've always really enjoyed in books. So I am really excited to continue reading this book. I only have 2 hours left, so I will probably check back in before the end of this vlog just to give you my final thoughts. I will check back in with you later. So I finished The Night We Met by Jimenez, and we're gonna discuss my thoughts. Number one, what I said before, we can scratch that from the record. Scratch it from the record, because I said, you know what? I don't really like Mike. I really like how much Chris cares for Larissa. I said that, okay? I did say that. I stand on that. Those words came out of my mouth. But we kept going with the story. New things unraveled. Mike and Larissa got in an actual committed relationship. Chris kept covering for Mike. He kept doing things for Mike when Mike should have been doing them, and Mike let him do them. And I don't know if that plays a part into how I feel about the relationship afterwards, because we already know it's boyfriend's best friend. That's the trope. We know where this is going. We knew the whole time we were reading it where this was going. I was enjoying it so much until we started seeing a little bit more of like what's going on at home, how Mike was acting, his problems start to become more relevant. Larissa gets put into a situation where she has to make a decision financially, where she has to make a decision on if she's going to make this next step with her boyfriend, Mike. And she does. And then we find out what happens, and it's not good. It's not good at all. And that's not a spoiler, because we do know that she ends up with his best friend, because that is literally the trope. So I will say this. How everything went down, I understand that it had to happen for a whole third act breakup conflict. The third act was final for their relationship in the beginning of Chris and Larissa's. So we go this entire book with Mike. And it is a long time. Like, they are with each other. And Chris is just in the background doing things for Larissa. And by the end of this book, I don't know. I feel like my man Chris deserved a little more. Maybe we get to see a little more in her next book. I don't know. But I did enjoy it. I consumed it in 24 hours. For that, I feel like it has to be in the 4-star realm. So it's definitely not a 5 stars. I cannot give it that. It didn't speak to me in that way. But I enjoyed Abby Jimenez's writing. And I enjoyed this one more than Say You'll Remember Me. And in the author's note in the end of this book, Abby Jimenez discusses how long she's been wanting to write this story, and she decided that she wanted to put in the effort that it deserved. So last year, she made the decision to release Say You'll Remember Me, which was going to be her 8th book, and switched it to her 7th book and released it last year because she knew that was going to be an easier story to tell. And she wrote it in 4 months. And when I heard that, I was like, that kind of makes sense, because yes, it was good, but were the details there that maybe we would have gotten if she had the whole year to write it like she would have planned to? I'm not sure. So I did rate Say You'll Remember Me 4 stars, I think. So for The Night We Met, I'm gonna have to go with 4.25 stars. That is my final rating, 4.25 stars. I understand that this could be a topic that a lot of people cannot read, and it might give the vibe of cheating, and a lot of people might be discouraged from reading this book because of that. I enjoyed it. I will say. I enjoyed seeing them develop a relationship as friends that later on turned into their relationship. It was what it was, and we knew what it was going to be when we started reading the book. And I feel like it was done in a way that was maybe the most respectful way that it could have been written. And that brings us to the end of this vlog. I really hope that you enjoyed reorganizing my bookshelves with me. Maybe it gave you a little bit of inspiration to switch up your shelves for the summertime. Like this video if this video inspired you, because I know when I watch these videos, I get very inspired to immediately run to my shelves and see if I can refresh it in any way. Comment down below how you felt about The Night We Met by Abby Jimenez, and subscribe to see what I'll read next. Bye.